Hi everybody, thanks for being patient. So we are going to start working on the intersection project that we've been working on before, and I think we've done 4 or 5 segments. I'm actually going to have to count because I don't remember now. It's been a couple weeks in between, but I want to show you the first design that we're going to play with, and then I'll show you the space where we're going to put it in. I like it because it has some great movement. It can be done in lots of different scales, so you don't have to just do it in a single scale. And I'm just going to kind of box it out. So the space that I have it in is kind of like that. And it turns the corner at 90 degrees. So this right here is a box. And then we're just going to vaguely split these. These are not even, but it won't matter. So the concept of the design is that there's an S curve in there, and then we can put the same thing on the other side. We know that this is going to look like this, right? It's going to be, let's see if I'm doing it correctly, this way, like that. So it's going to look like a pinwheel, and we want the same pinwheel in these other spaces. So if this is the center, like this one would go like this. And then same thing, as this curve feeds in, so this one would want to go like that. Okay, and we'll do the same thing here. We'll treat this like this square. So this would go like this. So there's a little S curve in there. And then this one would go like this. And the ones that go out here, it'll be the same. Okay, so we'll have all of those on there when we're going. So what you can do, a lot of times I either chalk or draw the pinwheel in because that's the visual orientation. And then as I sew it, you're going to just sew this part and you're going to travel on this one, come down, and just fill these in. And they can be different scales. You know, it's up to you. And then here, you could just travel over and you're going to put this one in and travel like that. And you'll just keep filling these in. Okay, and then same thing. And you can do them, you don't have to do them in any specific order. But for example, this one is touching right here, so I could just go down and do this side and kind of travel on the bottom. And then I could come back. Or you can do all of them. The thing is here, we're going to end up on this side, which makes it really difficult to get over to here. So that might not be in our best interest. So we'll go ahead and sew this one, and we'll go this way. And here, we'll just pretend that there's a line there. We'll kind of create our own line to close those out. We don't care if they match. We're not trying to make them match. We're just trying to travel over. So now we're down here, and we'll go on the curve like this. And then once we get down to the bottom, so there's 2 boxes on this side. So as we come back, we'd want to fill this one first, and we could even travel up that way to fill that one. So at this point, let's do this part of the curve here. Always think about how it's going to get you around the design, and that's how you can decide which way you're going to orient. So here, on the curve, and then this fill will bring me back the other way. So over here, and then I would just fill that. And then as I come back, I could come back on the other side. So let's go ahead and I'll show you the space that we've got set up for that. Hi, everybody. Oh, there's so many people. Hi, Betty. Hi, Nan. Hi, Linda. Hi, Milagros. Hi, Nancy. Oh, so excited. Glad you guys could make it. So anyway, this is kind of our first design. It's going to give us like a little onion kind of a thing. Don't worry about trying to make these match. That makes it too complicated. I mean, if you wanted to, you can, but I'm not going to. I guess that's the bottom line. So I have to make sure I don't put any ink on my white fabric real quick. Make sure I get that off. All right. So I've made some little intersections over here, and I've kind of got my spaces right here. So I'll try to make it a little bit more visible. I was kind of testing it out. So right here, we kind of want these to go the same direction, right? So that they don't all go different ways. So it looks like I have this one the wrong way. If this is the square, this one should go this way. So I'm just going to correct that now before I go awry. And then what does that mean? Then this one needs to go this way, opposite. Right there. All right, and same thing. Both of these somehow got on the wrong foot. So when I put them in, I just want to make sure they go the right direction. So this one will go down like that. So I need to try to ignore those. We'll see. We'll see how good I do. All right. So all I did here to create this space is I started with this square, and I put the echo in. And this is the breathing space for this so that no other designs are going to crowd into that. Because this one is the front, I want this one to be complete all the way around because he's in the front. So these ones are the intersections. So this one is coming from behind right here. So that's why I'm chopping that off right there. And it should have his chop line also on this side. Oh, there it is right there. Right? And then this one is now in front of this one. So this one has the chop line for this one that's going to come in the back. So we're going to put a fill in here and a fill in here today. And we'll just keep working. And what I'll probably end up doing for this particular one is I'm going to create some parity here. So I'm going to make this one the same. So I won't be putting a different fill in there if you're trying to follow along. So let's start in the corner. Pick up our bobbin thread. And I don't want to make this super tight. I don't need to have a line, you know, so tight. So what I can do is maybe if these are a little too tight, I will just not do as many. Maybe do, this is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, maybe just do 4. So let's go ahead and we'll put the first part of it in, the S. And it doesn't really matter where that center position is. There's going to be so much going on, and if these were actual squares, then maybe it would matter, but they're a little bit long. So I don't want to try to worry too much about if they're going to be perfect squares. Here I can use the edge of the ruler foot to help me travel. And we'll just put one more. And we're on the inside, so I actually want to close the curve here, so I'll just go back that way. And I'll put this side in. Okay, and I'm right at the center position. And now I can travel a little bit. And because they're not square, I'm not worried about trying to make them be too square. Any lines that you miss, we can capture on the back side. So right now there's some gap in there. We don't necessarily have to fill everything in right now. It's okay if we just kind of travel over to the next position and we'll put the curve in. And then we'll start traveling. So 4 lines, and then we'll kind of get down to the bottom there. And let's see, let's come back up and we'll finish this curve because we need to do 2. Oh, I got off. Here, I'm just going to pick that up. Can't see behind me, right? Okay, try and go a little slower so I can follow my line. There we go. Okay, so that's just bonbon. I'll take that out. I've got this little arc in here. And what I want to fill in is one on this side, and then I'll be filling this, and I can go kind of around that way. So let me show you kind of what we're doing. We do have a lot of lines in there. It's going to make it a little bit hard to see right now. And then let's see, I think we need to get over here and kind of finish these, so we'll put this curve in so we can travel. So we'll go backwards, we'll go this way. So we're traveling on that stitch line all the time. That's going to get us across to that other side. And then here I'll just fill this in because it's a gap. And we'll just travel right on down to that next one. Did I go the right way? It's hard to tell. We want them to go different directions, so kind of see how this is the same direction. We don't want this one to go the same direction, so even if I messed up, I'm just going to make it go a different way because I don't want it to be the same. I want it to go at cross directionality, and then we'll just worry about it later. Okay, so we're out on the boundary, so we're just going to scoot over. And I think I might mark in one or two of these lines here just to make sure that I'm going the right direction since I've got all these messy lines here. So the darker one is the one that we chalked in. So we're going around this way. Let me double check. Yeah, I think so. This one is the S that we want. So it's this side right there. And this side. Okay, so on this one, we're going to be following like this. Okay, so let's put in that half. And we'll travel right here. So there's our 4. And then I'll just close the curve, come down this way, try to connect all the dots as we go back towards the center. And then this one, this is the curve on this side, so he's going to go this way. Okay. Okay, and then again, as we said, it's this side right there. So those are the two orientations that we have right there. These ones will go this way, and then these ones will go this way. To the center. And I think I'll go ahead and I'll fill this curve in right now too. That'll make it a little prettier. And then we'll travel down. You can count how many stitches that you're coming down. If you're looking for spacing, you can count like 4 stitches, 5 stitches, and that can be a spacer for you. Okay. Ooh. Camera is a little bit high. Let's get that adjusted. See if we can get down in there a little better. All right, we're going to flip it over. It's going to be a little bit less busy than it is right now. Let's flip it this way so you can see what we're doing though. So this is the line. This is not. These ones are the mess. So we're going to come right back into the center and we're going to work towards this way so that we can go across the top here. Okay, so we're traveling on this curve to copy that curve on this side. When we come down to the corner, then we'll be able to just go right on that curve, back up to the center. That'll close all of those areas right there. Just go slowly so I can connect my dots right to the center. And then traveling on this curve, not this line, but this curve down here. So echoing that curve, a few stitches, echo back. Okay, so we've gotten this one, and you can see they all kind of go in different directions, and then there'll be a little parity in the middle where they'll be opposed to each other. All right, let me turn it this way so we can get to this side, see this side a little better. All right, so this one isn't quite closed, right? So we're gonna sew in, and then this is the travel curve right there. I can see a little better on this side. So come up, come across. Oh, I think I'll just put one more in there. Okay, so we'll come back on this curve, close all of those little edges back to the center, and then we'll travel out this one and echo this space to this line, right? This is the split between the little spaces. So just like we traveled only to the line, we'll travel to the line right here. And we'll travel down on the straight line. Okay, and then we're at the bottom here, and we do want to change direction. So if we just kept going straight right here, we wouldn't be doing that rotational thing. So I think we're going to come up and we'll echo this way. So let's go ahead and just travel across here until we get to that space, and then this is the direction that we want to go. We just don't want them to go right into one another. So that really kind of, I think, destroys the impact of the change of directions that we're trying to have. So let's see which direction we need to go. Well, let's come up this way a little bit. And we'll go this way. That'll help that one get back on track. So you can see where chalk would be kind of important for helping us. You can, I think, really see it on this one that we have kind of the swirl. Let's get you in a little closer. Right there. Can you see that? You kind of get that little swirly impact. So having that directionality, I think I was kind of going a little crazy, but I can definitely look at this one and make sure that all of mine get that rotational piece. And there is a lot of chalk on it right now. I think that kind of makes it look not as good as it could. I mean, not chalk, but marking. So let's get to the center. So we want this one to cross, so we're going to be echoing this line. So this one will travel out a little bit on the curve and echo it this way. Once we get to the corner, we can echo it in, and then this one will go this way. It's echoing this curve. So this is a perfect position for us. We'll go around this way. Travel on this one and echo down. And then travel on the box. And then I'll turn it around just so we can see that last one. Dropping things. All right, so if these go this way, we want these ones to go the opposite. So let's kind of come over on this side. Here's our curve right there. And then we'll travel up. And let me adjust my fabric. I think I can get one more of these little guys in there. One more little arc right there. And I'll just follow him down. So right here, when I stitch back up to the center, this will end up crossing those perfectly. So I'll just clean up this whole stitch line right here. Right there to the center. And then I'm going to echo this line. And I think it might be maybe that one that's kind of the out of whack. So let's see. We'll just do this last one and we'll figure it out. We'll tack it off. You can always come back in and add a little thread if there's areas that need to be tidied up. For me right now with all of the markings, I can't really tell if I need to tidy some areas up, so I'll just let that fade off, the air erase marker, and then if I need to clean anything up later, I can do that. Got a lot of thread here. Get this out of here. All right, so let's see how we did. Flip it over. Ooh, love it. Looking cool. Pretty, pretty. So much better without all those markings, huh? So, you know, here, if there's anything, like we can clean up the boxes right here because they are in there. That is part of the design. So I can see there's a little gap right there, but I can close that. But overall, I think it looks really cute. So, what do you think? So I think if you draw it on paper, you can get a little better idea of the flow. Just, you know, it's just a simple box and you're just doing that little S curve. So we'll kind of go back to it and I'll show you. You could make it bigger. So visually, it's an S curve. So if this goes this way and this goes down, then this side, right, this is always going to have the same orientation. Oh, tighter. Kind of getting back to that metal. So right in this quadrant right here, this is going to fill across like that. And then when we get to that side, you can travel back around this and see how these go this way. What we want with that next one, if you travel up to here, is this one is going to go the opposite way, like this. I think this picture is a little better, just able to show it a little more. When you get finished, you're on the outside of the box. So if this was the connection, I would close it. Then you travel in. And then this is the travel line for the next one. Travel, move up, until you get back to that next one. Then you can come in. And this is the travel line. This is the closure of the curve. And this is the travel line for the next one. So it's kind of, it looks cool, right? It kind of flows into itself. Doesn't that look awesome? I love it. And then right here, that would be the next one. So there is usually some kind of visual mark that is in between. So I'd literally just sew that in there because it's there. No use pretending that it's not there, right? Okay, so let me show you the next one that we're going to do. I'll flip it over. This one's a little bit bigger space. So what I want to do is put like a little swirl in there. And then then we're just going to kind of like try to put some feathers to fill that in. And then you could do a swirl. You can do whatever you want. It doesn't have to be a feather. But then you're just going to turn it. So maybe you have a couple of these, and then when you come back, when you're here, a swirl can always be from the bottom. It's easier, I think, to do it from the bottom. And then just put one more. And then right when you get to the end right here, you're just going to hop over to that spot, right? Whatever you have left, if you can't fit something in there, and then you're going to 90 degrees. You're going to do a little swirl, and you're going to do that. This boundary, it's drawn in, but I'm just going to treat it as a visual boundary. I'm not actually going to stitch it or anything. Okay, so we're down at the bottom, and then let's put a little curl. And they don't have to match, right? We don't have to have exactly the same pattern each time. We're just trying to get up into that space. Here I'll come down a little more and put the next one in. And then we'll put a curl. And actually, this is so much easier to do when you're actually sewing it, honestly. So put one more, and then we'll hop over. Right? So something kind of like that. That's what we're trying to get. The key is that this is a lot wider, so we have to travel over a little bit as this comes back. We're not trying to keep this as the point of origin. We're sort of trying to migrate the point of origin so that he's not like this. We can't have this guy having to angle all the way back to here. We kind of want him just only a little angle as we go. All right, well, let's see how we do. These are small, so we don't need quite as many lobes, I think, as I drew. We're only going to put in a few of them. So always I recommend, if you want to do it, to try to do it maybe at scale. That's where you can really see what your space is. Like, I don't want my swirl to be really super tiny, so I can just start it over here. And then you're going to come back up. 1, and then maybe this guy stretches, 2, and 3. And then we'll put a swirl in, and 1, and 2, and hop. Okay, something like that. I think when we practice it, if we don't practice it to scale, sometimes it can be hard to figure out where you need to be. So I do like to draw a lot of my stuff out because that gives me the visual of what its actual spacing is going to be. So let's tack it in, put our tacking stitches right here. A little swirl, and just follow it when you come out. I'm looking ahead. Try to fill in that space right there and pop out and put my little swirl in there. And here, over to the corner. Okay, so that's how we can travel when we do that little hop over. That's getting us to the corner so we can advance to that next bit of our design. Okay? All right, so let me, I think we need to turn it because I don't know if you'll be able to see it really well. There, that's, I think, a little better. So notice how our swirl kind of curves out a little bit. So one of the ways we can get the same impact here and not crowd it, give us room, is just stitch out a little bit. Okay, little swirl, and then back up. So here, let's put our little curlicue in there. Come down a little bit and pop over to the next one. And I think the edge of my quilt needs to be bumped up. Hang on just a second. All right, always stop kind of at the bottom, you know, wherever your travel bit is, because that'll help you a little bit. And then we'll just pop over. And I'm not trying to make a match. I mean, I think we said that already, but I think it's too confining for me, so I'm just gonna not make a match because I don't want to. So here we'll do a curl because we can fit him in nice. And so remember that the lines there in the middle are kind of suggestions. If I stitch them in, they're a little bit more confining. So I don't necessarily want that. I don't want that confinement. Okay, and then we'll do the last one. We'll turn it this way. So stitching away from the corner just a little bit, give you some space to put your curl in. And then put a little curl in there. Come back down and pop over. And I'll just put another curl right here just because I can. Keeps it from being too matchy-matchy. And then we'll pop over to the corner. All right, so I'm just going to tack this in, make sure that this doesn't come out. So both of the designs today have kind of that change in orientation. So as you go around, they kind of have that little twisted swirl, and that just gives some fun movement. And then that intersection piece is how we crossed over, right? So that this is in front of this on each piece, and that shows that dimensionality as well. All right, somebody said they need to practice with the rulers for their feathers before they free motion, but you know, you can do them both at the same time. It's okay. But you know, this is definitely a free motion class, so we're trying to give some of that free motion content. Let's flip it over. Oh my gosh, so cute. I love it. It's adorable. Right, without all those markings. Oh, I love it. So cute. And then there's a little gap, and we don't care. That's just nice. It allows it to kind of have some of that momentum, and you can see we didn't try to be ultra matchy, so it's very flexible. Right there you can see, get some shadow on it so we can see it. Love it. And this is great to be able to do at scale, like if you're trying to do something bigger. Let me show you a couple tips if you are trying to work it bigger. We'll just put it on a little piece of scrap real fast. Got a little piece right here. So we'll just make a little triangle on this, and we'll just make it a little bit bigger to talk about some scaling. I don't want to make it too big, but I want to kind of give us the idea here. So we'll just make a straight line so we can close it off. There we go. All right, so obviously bigger, right? A lot bigger. So kind of think about like when you start out, visually, that's what your swirl is going to be. Like we don't need to fill every tiny little spot, right? So just think about that space right there as your start. Once the swirl goes in, okay, he kind of sets the tone. One of the things that you need to figure out is what is the width of the feather in your mind, kind of like this, because they could be really skinny or not, right? So these are kind of skinny, this is like one finger, and we'll just sew a little bit, and what I'll do is I'll kind of get to the center, and then we'll actually make fat ones on this side. And then you can see some of the difference in the scale. skinny feathers have the advantage of helping you to be able to scale them into narrow spaces, right? So these are kind of skinny. Remember here, we got to travel. We can't come back to here. Otherwise, we're not traveling very effectively. So let's make a skinny one. Okay, he's kind of skinny, but we gotta have him. Oh, went awry. Sorry, lost my hand position. Let's come back up here. Woo! Okay, we can't come right back to there. We have to travel out a little bit. So kind of make this one come out a little bit more, and you'll see that's kind of skinny, right? And I think some people don't necessarily like that skinny feather, but what it allows, it helps us to get that fit up at the top. See right here, if he's skinny, I can squeeze him in there, right? But if he's fat, then I have a lot more difficulty fitting him in as this narrows out. So if I put something that's really fat in there, it limits whether I could center that feather very well. So here, we'll kind of make these a little fatter, I guess. Ready? Fatter. So I'll kind of pull it out a little bit, but that skinnier nature of your feather, you're not going to get that unless you actually practice it skinny, right? Because it is really a long curve that you're traveling. So the visual distance is a lot different than if you're making nice juicy fat feathers. You can even see I kind of struggled with it already. So that will help you to fit them in if you have those narrow spaces, if you make them a little skinnier. If it's a more squat shape like we had, because ours is much narrower from top to bottom, we could put in a little bit proportionately rounder feather for the space. Like, I mean, there's not a lot in there. These aren't that skinny for something so small like that. So that'll be something that you can look at when you're working with feathers and you're trying to fit them into spaces that kind of narrow out at the top. That skinnier feather gives you more flexibility to adjust the height as you go, because it's just not going to force you. Like if it's really skinny right here, I can just fit him in. Whereas if I had a really fat feather, he would not have as good of a likelihood of being centered right in the space. So, all right. So you guys, thanks. I am keeping it short and sweet. I know we're making progress on this very slowly, a little bit at a time, but I just don't want these Freemotion Fridays to be hours and hours. I just want to be able to share that content and let you take a bite-sized bit of information and play with that. Okay? All right. So have a wonderful day. Thank you so much. I appreciate you guys being here, and I know the schedule's been erratic. I anticipate I will be here next Friday. I don't have anything on the schedule right now, so we should be at our regular time. I'm going to double check that and make sure I'm not lying, because honestly, I have a lot of trouble managing my schedule. So I need a professional scheduler to help me. But we'll see you next time, and have a wonderful week. Happy quilting. So have a great weekend. Happy 4th of July.